Hello, everybody. My name is Luke. I create custom sneakers for very, very important and very cool people all across the country. So you guys can follow me on Instagram. You guys can find me on social media, lkg.customs. And yeah, this is what I do. I make art for a living. I make some cool pieces of work for people. So if you guys have a brand or a company that you guys would like to have displayed in a creative way to reach people in a creative way. We can create content. We can create a piece of artwork for you, and yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. I will be rocking these at every event I speak at from now for the next decade. And to the IRS, it has ORaaT on it, so it is a tax write-off. I'm just letting you know that right now. So there's that. So let me tell you about this special guest. So obviously, I pay attention to what's going on in my community. I hear a lot of people doing amazing things, and sometimes I'm not in a position to help you. What I have seen take off in the last year, possibly 18 months, are two things that I don't think I was helping you with. The first one was ADUs, right? I told you if you were on my channel long ago, I tried to do an ADU in Fresno. It happened to be in the Tower District. It's a whole long story where I lost a lot of money because there's a postage-size stamp in Fresno where you can't do these because of architecture and character and all of that. Also tough to finance and all of those things. So I didn't really feel like I had an answer for you. Then Brandon, who's in the room somewhere, I think, there he is, he started this, and many of others have followed doing what I'll call build for rent or infill lots. I've had a dozen conversations with various people around the country basically saying, Michael, I can't find cash flow, but I can build for 200 and the value is 360. Or something like that, right? Where it is cheaper for me to build than buy an existing property. Again, I like that. I hear that. I couldn't serve you because none of the lenders, which we all love, right? Convoy Home Loans, Velocity Mortgage, Matt the Mortgage Guy, the folks that come back week after week after week, we know and love them, but not new construction. It wasn't an area where they played in. So I have been looking for someone that could help solve that and do other things. And that's why I was introduced to Lending One. As you can see, they do new construction. I had them on the channel for the first time. I think it posted Thursday. Hopefully we'll have them on the channel again because, again, I'm just like Convoy, just like Velocity, just like Matt. I will test them, right? I expect you to reach out, and if they suck, you tell me, just like you did with everyone else. But I think they're going to come through because, again, I think they're filling a void of stuff that I could provide. So what I wanted to do in this quick half hour is introduce you to a young man named Avery. We're going to just riff for a little while. Just like always, if you want to ask questions, just come over to the side. We will do that. But Avery, welcome to the show.
All right.
Look at that deep voice. There you go.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Give yourself a hand for being here. Everybody here, give yourself a hand. All right, thanks for having us. Lending One is certainly excited about being a part of you guys' event. It's been great. We have met several people who are excited about growing their book of business, and we can't wait to be a part of it. So, again, just thank you for having us here.
Yeah. So, again, folks, if you have questions, new construction, ADU, just want to ask them about financing. Again, we're going to do this for about 20, 25 minutes, line up over there. But why don't you introduce the audience? Because, again, if they've been in my community, they've been hearing from Convoy, Velocity, Matt the Mortgage Guy for 3 years or more. Tell us about Velocity. You've been on for a second. Assume they haven't seen that video from Thursday. Who is Lending One?
Yeah, so Lending One, we're a national private lender. We focus on nothing but the investor. Everything that we do is focused around what we call in our space business purpose. That means that everything that we focus on is surrounded around real estate investment for business purposes, right? Everything that we do is surrounded around the LLC you've created, the corporation you have created, or the incorporation you have created. So we don't really lend to people as individuals. We look at it like it's a business transaction because it is. And we're nationwide, and we have a product suite designed really what I like to call for growing people's portfolios from new construction ground up, traditional fix and flip, a kind of a niche product, fix to rent, which we'll talk more about, DSCR, which you guys are probably familiar with, and also portfolio. We're probably the leader in the portfolio space, taking several properties, consolidating them as kind of a commercial type of product, and put it in one payment so that we can kind of offset anything in regards of several different rental loans together. So really got a great product suite. Been in the business 10 years, since 2014. We're obviously probably at 5 or 6 billion at this point in regards of loans that we've been able to do. And we have really carved out a niche for beginners, those who are kind of middle tier, and obviously we do institutional financing as well, where we'll do $60, $70 million portfolio loans. So we've got a little bit for everybody.
So I heard something on Thursday. You guys are okay doing loans up to $200 million.
Listen, if you got a $200 million loan, let's take a look at it. That's our answer for everything. Let's take a look at it. Right, so we don't really turn down anything until we get the details, but we certainly feel like if you bring a $200 million loan, we definitely need to talk.
You're going to look at that a little bit?
We're going to have to look at that one.
Yeah, why don't we, who in here is excited, who in here has done a build for rent, completed, start to finish? We got a couple. Who has interest in doing build for rent? Oh, see, I knew I had a gap in my ability to help you. Yes! Got it right. So why don't we educate the folks that haven't done one yet on what the process looks like. I'm going to guess what it is, and you tell me where I'm wrong, because that's why you're here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be Brandon for a minute. He's going to go looking for an infill lot somewhere.
Yes.
I'm going to buy that lot for cash.
That's right.
And then I'm going to come to you with these. What do I need to bring you? I ring you up. I have a conversation, Avery. I own the lot. What happens next?
Yeah, so that's great. So you come to me, you say, hey, I found this infill lot. I want to build on it. So we obviously want to measure someone's experience. That's like the first topic of conversation. Have you built a home before? Have you did any new construction before? Or have you had what we call a heavy flip, which means that you've done some structural things to the property? If you have that experience, or if you're partnering with a general contractor, which a lot of our investors do, that's kind of where we start. So we can gauge the project that you're about to do. Secondly, we want to know about plans and permits. We want to know how long that ETA would be to get, permits approved. If you're in San Diego, which I used to live in Carlsbad, California, for those who are on the West Coast, it'll take you a while to get, permits, approved, versus if you're down in Columbia, South Carolina, where it may take you a week. So that's something that we discuss about plans and permits and the timelines associated with that. Then, of course, obviously, we want to know about the budget, because our new construction product is designed to put the budget or the rehab costs in escrow. And as these things take place, we give you the money. So you do the work, we inspect the work, then we release the funds. So these are the things that we talk through on the front end. And last but not least, what is the value when you're done? We call it the ARV, after repair value. What is the value after you have built this construction home? And then if you say, hey, well, I was actually looking to build a rent and I'm looking to put a tenant in the property, we say, perfect. We've got a long-term product for that. So after you've built it, maybe you thought you may sell it, right? That's the good news about having several products that you can choose from. I always say it's kind of like playing poker here in Vegas. If you've ever sat down at the table and played Texas Hold'em, you got to play the cards that's dealt. Well, real estate's very similar. Sometimes it makes sense to sell the home. Sometimes it makes sense to put a tenant in there and make it cash flow for the next 10 years. So we have the product suites to take you from new construction, I want to sell it, to new construction, I want to hold it, and I can put a tenant in there. And by the way, we have the product based off of cash flow solely. No DTI, no tax return, no W-2. We're basing everything on a business purpose. What is the cash flow versus the insurance, the taxes, and the actual mortgage payment? So really good product there.
So let's walk through the process. So again, I'm Brandon. I'm coming to you. I got this lot. Does that lot become collateral for the loan?
Absolutely. So we look at that to go in the formula that we call loan to cost, LTC. That means that the property that you bought, the actual dirt, right? We go out there, we appraise that dirt. We say, okay, the value of the dirt is X along with your rehab budget, your construction budget. We say, all right, yep, you bought the lot in cash. We give you credit for that. We call that equity. That's the skin in the game, which you put towards the deal. And we put those things together so we can give you an idea of what your total loan will be.
So again, the other things you're going to look for, again, trying to check that experience level is like, do you have plans? Do you understand timelines? Do you have, a bill of material, the cost structure? These are all just weighing the potential borrower at this point.
That's right. We want to get an idea about your experience, and then because we are partners, we want to get an idea about your exit strategy. Okay, how long is it going to take you to build it? Is it 90 days? Is it 6 months? Isn't it 12 months? Because like we said before, if you don't have those permits, approved, it may take you a while, from the beginning of the process. So we want to make sure we give you ample time to not only finish the project, but put it in a long-term product or sell it.
Yeah, and the other thing I talked to the conversation on Thursday, in theory, let's say you were out there. So is Jason Pritchard in the room? So Jason Pritchard's taken on a single family. He bought a big lot. We're going to talk about it tomorrow, so you hear more about these details. But essentially, he's going to put a bunch of single family homes on that. Let's say it's 100 homes.
Yeah.
That's a loan you will look at because, again, you say you don't do commercial, you only do residential. But if you're doing 100 single family or 10 single family, that's a game you want to play in.
Absolutely. That's our portfolio product, which I will say here very proudly, we're probably the best at portfolio in this space. I mean, obviously there's other lenders, there's competition, but in regards of what our ability to take from as little as 3 homes and put them in a portfolio to doing 200. I think we recently closed along with 400 single families together, consolidated to make one loan. So it really helps people grow their business because I was talking to a lot of you since I've been here, and you've used that strategy where you say, hey, I had a VA loan. That was my primary residence. I moved out of there. I put a tenant in there, and you're slowly growing your rental, right? One rental at a time. Think about this for a second. The ability to be able to grow your portfolio by leveraging out private money and saying, okay, well, those guys are not looking at my DTI. They're not Fannie and Freddie guidelines where if you cap at 10, then you can't do anymore. And we've helped a lot of people put those in one bundle, and then they go right back to Freddie and Fannie or maybe VA. So it's a very good tool to consolidate multiple rentals and put it in one product.
Love that. So again, a lot more there. We're going to interview him a lot more and get more details because, again, I think it's a gap that I had servicing your needs. The other one that caught my attention that I really had to scratch out the other day was fix to rent.
Yes.
That's kind of sexy. So tell us what that is.
Oh, man, it's a great product. So a lot of you may be familiar or maybe you haven't been familiar with the BRRRR process. You probably heard on social media, your TikTok page, YouTube. This is where investors are going in and they say, hey, here's a property that's in distress. All right, I'd like to get a loan to fix that property up, but my exit strategy is to actually rent it out. So we help people with this fixed to rent concept where we say, all right, find the property, we'll help you with the acquisition, we'll put the rehab budget in escrow, so as you fix it up, we'll help you with that part of the process. When you're done, we will segue you over to a long-term rental loan that's 30 years is fixed, so fixed to rent. So this gives you kind of the best of both worlds. Gives you an opportunity to find a property that you can put value in. Because the whole purpose and strategy of a BRRRR, when I'm buying, I'm renovating, I'm renting, and then the best thing, I'm refinancing. That means I'm pulling out the equity that I just built from all of the rehab that I just did, and I'm taking that cash and I'm doing it again. I'm going to the next rental because I just pulled out the capital that I got from upgrading the property. So we have a product specifically for that called fixed to rent. It's really cool.
So let's put some lipstick on this to make sure I understand it. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's why I'm here, right? So again, the whole idea with fix and rent, as I understand it, is you're trying to save the borrower money.
Absolutely.
You're a lender, right?
I'm a lender.
And you're trying to save the borrower money
I'm trying to save the borrower money.
because you're interested in the relationship.
I'm interested in not that deal, but several deals. We're partners. We're going to be together for a long time. So not one deal, but 2 deals, 3, 4, 5. And this is the way that I can do that.
And the reason that fix and rent caught my attention is because, A, I've done a lot of them. But the key is to communicate upfront your intention, because if you don't do that, then you're going to get stuck. Because if you don't know BRRRR, there's essentially 2 loans in there. There's the purchase loan, and then there's the refi loan, which means if you're not doing something on purpose, 2 originations, 2 appraisals, 2 this, 2 that. So again, you got to remember, this is a product. Again, I've had 1 conversation, now 2. So again, You're going to have these conversations with Lending One. You're going to let me know if they don't service your needs. Tell me what's going on. But I think this is a way you can save money. If your strategy is BRRRR and you know your strategy up front, you might as well save $1,500, $2,250. This is going to be, you know, $2,000 to $4,000 if you do it with a product like this. But again, you got to know up front. If you go in all wishy-washy, like I'm going to flip it, and then you don't flip it, and then you keep it, you don't have the right lending product. Right? Does that make sense? Everybody hear what I'm saying? You're going to tell me how they do, yeah? Awesome. I love my audience.
No, that's right. If you go in with this strategy, a lot of times, you know, we tell our sales guys, I run sales, I'm VP of sales. We always tell people, make sure that we lead with the strategy. Lead the conversation with what are you going to do? What are your intentions? Now, we have the product suites to pivot because sometimes we go back to that poker analogy where sometimes we can't control the market or we can't control how things pan out. We can't control the initial flop of the cards, right? However, if you lead with the strategy from the very beginning, we can put you in the right product. We can put you in fixed rent and save you closing costs, fees, origination, even an appraisal fee because you told us from the beginning, hey, I'm fixing this up to rent it out.
I love it. People are lining up to ask questions. Again, folks, you want to ask questions. If you're interested in this business, I'm not sure why you're not lining up. But let's make sure on a couple things. 30-year fixed?
Yes, sir.
Prepay?
Prepayment, we have a prepayment penalty, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? That's the penalty on a 30-year fix. However, we have the opportunity to buy down to a 3-year or no penalty at all.
Investor only, not owner occupied?
That's it. Only for the real estate business people. For all of you guys who create the LLCs, we're your people. We want to do business.
I like it. Let's get some questions.
Test. Okay. Hey, Jared Oshevine. My wife, Laura, came this year, and we're rent-by-room investors. So you said strategy, so I came on over here. So I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Do you know what rent-by-room is?
Yeah, so this is more like, hey, like a dorm, like what we did in college. Hey, we've got a place, you rent out a room, you rent out a room.
All right, you said start with strategy. You got a product for that strategy?
We actually don't. We've looked at it several times because you know, once upon a time in our space, just in totality, there was a product that existed for nonprofit companies that wanted to have like more of a home for people to have development there. And they would rent out those rooms. And as long as they had one lease, they could do it. So they wouldn't mind if other people sublease to the person that owned the property, but we don't currently have that product. But it's definitely something that we can certainly talk about in the future.
I was going to say, I think it's picking up steam. You got quite a few people here that are doing private money loans for this. But so I'll talk to you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Thank you for that.
How's it going? I'm DJ from Vancouver. I had heard something about you guys doing ADU loans as well. Is there a way, do you have a product, I guess, that could, if somebody has a property, they already have a 3% mortgage, 30-year, they don't want to lose, is there a way to finance the ADU separately as a second or some way to, I guess, do both?
Yeah. Yeah, no, listen, you're probably the third or fourth person to ask that today, just in general about seconds, because people currently have such low interest rates on their property, they don't want to give that up. I think we had a conversation earlier about a HELOC, like if somebody could come in and maybe make a loan against us. We actually currently don't have that. If we were going to take an ADU down, we'd have to be taking the actual property, like that parcel. So several people come to us and say, hey, can you do an ADU? And the answer is we're kind of like let's call it case-by-case ordeal. And if that property was free and clear and we could put our first lien on the new ADU, we would be listening to that. But obviously with ADU, you got to have different utilities than the primary spot. Meter, water, all those things. So this is kind of a case-by-case deal, but we don't have a second, no.
Gotcha. So you'd have to purchase the property through you guys, and then you could do a construction loan under that.
Right,
Gotcha.
And considering that house being on that land, a part of the loan.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. So not only do I do a few other things, but I'm also own a general contracting company in California.
Yeah.
And I want to know how you pay your contractors and how you guys kind of work with them to make sure that they're getting paid on time and on budget.
Amazing question. This is a great question. So in our company at Lending One, we have what we call post-closing. We have an entire draw team. So we will not let out any draws until we know for a fact that the GCs got paid. So a lot of times what we do, if we have a general contractor involved with our construction or heavy rehab, we'll actually have the general contractor use their account as something we can wire to. So when the inspection goes through and things are done, we actually can wire it straight to the general contractor to ensure that we get paid, because the last thing that we want is like a mechanical lien on the property saying, hey, by the way, you guys didn't pay me. So that's a part of our inspection process. We have a third-party inspector who also monitors these things to make sure that draws go through.
So it's almost like it's a escrow company.
Absolutely. We have escrow set aside, budget's there, inspector goes out, we make sure work was complete, and we make sure that the general contractors get paid for the work that they completed.
All right, and I'm going to throw a little creative one at you.
All right.
So he was talking about, having the property and doing an ADU in the back. Well, if I'm able to split the parcel and make it a separate parcel, well, then you do the new construction for
Yeah, because now when you split the parcel, we're looking at that as an individual lot. We're no longer even considering the other property. Once you split that parcel, we're looking at parcel A and parcel B. So yeah, we're just now at that point, just a brand new construction from ground up.
Hi, I'm Wendy, and I think I have a DSCR loan through you guys already, maybe more than one even, so thanks for being here.
All right.
So my question is this. I don't know what to call it, so I'll just give you the story. It'll be quick. I bought a house. I probably have a loan maybe through you guys on it, and then I spent about $50,000 of my own money fixing it up. Now, I'd like to put that money back in my pocket because the Bank of Wendy is now poor. So is there a loan for that kind of thing, and what would you call it?
Absolutely. So let's go back to strategy. Are you renting the property out?
I am renting it out. I actually have it as a midterm rental now. It makes about, yeah.
Perfect. Then what we do is we just going to go right to the appraisal and say, give us the value. And then we're going to do a cash out refinance based on the true value. All you need is 90 days of seasoning. So have you owned the property 90 days?
Yeah, I've owned it 3 years, and I had it rented for a while, and then I had to fix it up.
Well, perfect. We're going to go off 75% of the value.
So 75% is what you'd loan me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all, let's lay up.
Okay. Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm from Savannah.
Oh, Savannah, Georgia.
Right now, anyway.
So, Bulldog fan.
No, we're Alabama.
Oh, Lord. Oh, I thought we was going to be friends.
Listen, Alabama paid for all my daughter's undergraduate school while she ran for 4 years. So
listen, I see that big I see the Bama shirt.
Right. Okay, so I'm actually a super newbie to this part, so bear with me if you got the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so I've just been buying single-family homes for, I don't know, like 15 years or 20 years, something like this. Like
Sure.
just one at a time. But I am like at a point now where I would like to grow, still kind of slowly. So I have several homes in South Carolina that I want to purchase, but they need work on them. Could you walk me through exactly what I would need to do in order to obtain financing?
Yeah, so are you looking to do this individually, or are you looking to do this collectively?
Yeah, I just want to do it one at a time. Just
absolutely.
This part's new for me.
Right. What's your exit strategy? Are you looking to rent it out?
I want to keep them and rent them out.
Yeah, so it's perfect for fix to rent. You know, we'll take each individual property. You say, hey, I own this property, and I'd like to add a budget to it. And then we go through the process, fixing it up, giving you the rehab funds for it, and then we roll it into long-term rental loan.
Okay, and then the lady that was before me, she asked, would you do like the loan to value at 75% also?
That's right, of the value when we're done.
The end, on the back end.
Right, so whatever the value is plus the rehab costs.
Okay, super. And then, so I want to make sure I understand this correctly. So you make your money basically by hoping that we keep coming back for repeat business with you.
Well, yeah, I would say that probably, let's just talk a little bit of statistics here. Each investor, real estate investor, let's call it on average, they do between 4 and 8 deals a year. So our whole intention is to build a relationship with our clients. I mean, it's sure if you want to do a one-off and you don't like us, then we try to get better at our service. But the reality is that we're looking for a long-term relationship to do several deals over and over and over again.
Okay, super. And then one more, you may or may not know about this, someone here in the room may. So I have potentially in the future have access to a lot of land.
Yeah.
And I would like to just build houses on it only for rent. I've got like 330 acres in the
Right.
Augusta, Georgia area.
Yeah.
I mean, you could thank my husband and his people for that back there, but yeah. So I'm just curious of like, because it's still zoned AG land, so I know
Yeah,
there's some
man.
process that I need to go through. But I know one land developer, but he has not had time to like sit down with me because he's working on a project in Florida, which it's crazy down there in Sarasota. So he hasn't had time for the last year and a half.
Right.
So I just don't know what I would even do with that next. But it's paid for land that's in the family. So
No, the great question. So let's talk about our lane, and then let's talk about how I could help. Like in our lane, we want to deal with land that's what we call build ready.
Okay.
That means that we work on the vertical. Now, we don't really do the horizontal, but we know people that do. So I'll be happy to turn you into my
Okay.
network to help to get the properties ready to go, and then that's when we can get inserted when we're ready to go vertical. When we're ready to actually swing the hammer, that's when we're coming on the scene. But in regards to getting the acres ready, turning it from the zoning from AG to where you can build something like single family homes or build a rent community, then you got to go with a lot of horizontal financing. And we have partners that we work with that can help with that.
okay, cool. Thank you so much, sir.
You're
I
so
appreciate
welcome.
it. Yep.
Hi, my name is Denise. I am a 30-year realtor. I work mostly with real estate investors. I'm also a long time investor. I have done every single type of loan except a DSCR loan, and I get asked about those very often, and I need to know more than just the bros on TikTok that I see, what's going on. I need to know what that really looks like. Can you kind of run me through like a $400,000 loan, what that would look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, DSCR is a term that gets kind of thrown around a lot, debt, and it stands for debt service, income rate. So the reality is that if we were to put it in just layman terms, it's like taking the income, which is your rent, matching it up versus the taxes, the insurance, and your mortgage payment, right? So the ratio of that is kind of what they call the debt service coverage ratio, DSCR. And what we like to say is, okay, simple, is $1,000 of income or rent versus $1,000 of overhead. We call that 1.0. That means you're breaking even. So if you got a $400,000 home, then your payment, whatever your mortgage payment is, depending on your rate, your rental income needs to probably be, let's call it 120, so that you have plenty of cash flow. That means that you're clearing your payment, and then you have plenty of income to put in your pocket for maintenance, upkeep, and saving. So that's really what the product is about. The reason it's so popular is because you're not taking your own income. It's based off the cash flow of the property. So it's really a cash flowing product. It's based off that solely. If you were to come and say, hey, I'm looking for a $400,000 property I want to purchase, we do up to 80%, assuming that the property could pay for itself. So if you're making enough rent to cover the actual overhead, we'll give you 80% of the purchase price.
So I only need to cover the 320,000. Is that right?
We need to be able to cover the payment,
Yeah.
the monthly payment.
Okay, then one more question on that. I think I got it. If the interest rate on average is 7%, what is that rate going to be?
I'm sorry, if the average interest rate on Ford mortgage? Yeah, so right now, just to give you an idea, we're probably sub 7 right now. Obviously, it changes with daily, but right now, I would say our top leverage, meaning you can get 75% on a refinance and 80% on a purchase price, you're probably landing somewhere around 6.90. So a little less than what it is on Ford mortgage. I've been doing this about 12 years, and this is the first time I've really saw that the investor rate is really close to conventional Ford mortgage. I mean, think about it. But I guess in concept it would make sense because people are, as we said, this is business, right? Business purpose lending. When you get a Ford mortgage, they're basing it on what? Income. If you were to lose your job, all of a sudden that loan becomes risky because you got to work to be able to pay your bills. With the conventional DSCR, this DSCR investment loan, is really based on the ability to get a tenant in there. If somebody can pay your rent, then the actual loan will perform. So I can see why now it's evolved to where the rate is very similar to conventional financing. Thank you.
So you talked about LLCs. Do I have to have an LLC to do business with you? And if so, is there any vetting requirement other than just, hey, you have to have an LLC?
Well, yes, you do. You have to have a entity built for business. So that can be a corporation, that can be a trust, that can be an LLC, or it can be an N Corp. We just want to make sure that we are lending to a business entity and not an individual. That's really the biggest difference. So it take you 5 minutes to create an LLC on LegalZoom. Go on there, get your LLC, you got a partner, 50-50, make it and roll.
And then, so that's all you need then? You don't.
That's
need
all we
anything else?
need.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right, so again, you're my audience. I'm here for you. So again, I think I've brought to you a pretty good solution for something that I wasn't providing you before. But you're going to have to reach out. You're going to have to let me know how they do. Leave comments, DM me. You all know how to get a hold of me. So again, I think lending one is going to help in some areas, build to rent, fix and rent, and lots of other areas. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for being here.
Thank y'all so much.
And here's your belt.
All right. Thank you, guys. Please stop by the booth. We got our entire team there waiting to answer any of your individual questions, okay? Thank y'all.
Ashley, that was great. So 48 of the 50.
We got some from Nevada to work through. We do. So holler at me if you're
Yeah, go to the back. They're there. Ask them all the kinds of questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Oh, thank you. That was going to kill me. There you go. She just saved my life. So I have a treat for you. Somebody that I have looked up to, somebody who has done lots of amazing things in her life, frankly. And she has graciously agreed to come to this event. As you will see in a minute, she's a wee bit pregnant, just a wee bit. The one and only Lisa Sutton. And the reason I wanted Lisa to come to talk to you today is she did what a lot of us did, myself included. She went to college a lot. She joined the rat race. She became a practicing attorney. And now she's gone on this entrepreneur journey. She runs lots of different businesses, is doing lots of amazing things. You're going to have the pleasure of talking or listening to Lisa Sutton. And we have a PowerPoint coming down. Lisa, welcome to the show.
This side? Okay. Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Sutton Gunderson. I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. Super excited to be here with you guys today. Yeah, I am 8 months pregnant, so I usually don't look like this, but I won't look like this in like 4 or 5 weeks. So, yeah, I'm just super excited to be here with you guys. Thank you so much to Michael and their team for inviting me to come speak. I guess I'll just say next slide when I'm ready to move forward to the next slide. Is that okay? Oh, okay. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, great. So, yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys just kind of the start of my business journey, how that turned into an entrepreneurial journey, and how that's been kind of augmented not only through entrepreneurship, small businesses, boring businesses, and real estate, and basically how I've been able to grow that the last 14 years here in Las Vegas. So, as I mentioned, attorney turned entrepreneur, real estate investor. I'm also a former Miss Nevada. That comes more relevant later in the journey, which I'll share with you guys. And these are just some of the brands and businesses that I've built over the last 14 years. And I want to show this because it's very diversified. It's across various industries, everything from baked goods to e-commerce to mailbox rental pack and ship stores to a real estate brokerage to a venture capital firm. It's extremely diversified, and I'll share exactly how I was able to get so diversified, obviously just being one person. So For background, as Michael mentioned, I went the kind of traditional route. I come from a very traditional family. My dad was Air Force and then worked for the Department of Defense while I was growing up down in Fort Huachuca in a small rural town in southeastern Arizona. And my mom, Asian Tiger Mom, if anyone has one here, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So academics is extremely important my entire childhood growing up. So it wasn't a question of if I was going to go to college, it was a matter of which college was I going to, and then what type of grad school education was I going to get. So by the time I was in middle school, the question was, am I going to go to law school or am I going to go to medical school? And I had always gravitated towards reading and writing. It's what I'd always been naturally good at and inclined at. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'll go to law school. And so even though I kind of chose it on a whim, I'm glad I did because it created kind of a North Star for me my entire lower academic career. And so I always had in the back of my mind, hey, like I know I'm going to college and I know I'm going to law school. So I ended up going to the University of Arizona to get a political science degree, and then I went to law school in Florida at the University of Miami. And after finishing school, I ended up moving to Las Vegas. Las Vegas in 2010, for any of you who were here then, was ripe with opportunity. Everyone was filing bankruptcy and everyone was suing each other. So I got thrown in head first to a firm that still does to this day business litigation and business bankruptcy. And I can't tell you what a great precursor that was for me before actually getting into business, because I learned so much of what not to do. And I met so many people who were super smart that were coming into the office and realizing there were missteps that were made, small mistakes that were made in the beginning of their business career or their real estate investing career, whether it was not having an operating agreement, not having a tight partnership agreement, whatever it seemed like small missteps, but then amplify that over years. And then you end up in lawsuits, you end up in bankruptcy. It really snowballs and cascades. So it was such a great place for me to be before getting into business. I don't have like the traditional entrepreneur story where I grew up like flipping baseball cards or like selling candy out of the back of my car to fellow high school students. I don't have any of that. And I went to the law firm, working my big girl job there, not having any inclination or idea that I would end up starting a business. I did end up starting a business, and that entrepreneurial spark came the fall of 2011 while I was still working at the firm. And my co-founder was Sin City Cupcakes, was just a friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine from Florida. And we were catching up on the phone one night, and she said, hey, what have you been up to? And I was telling her about my job and how everything's so great in Vegas. And she told me, she was like, well, I've been making these alcohol cupcakes. And I'm like, that is genius. I was like, I love it. I didn't even know how to bake when we had this conversation. And, I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, right? But I was just so excited. And I was like, that's an amazing idea. And it's perfect for Vegas. You should move here. I just bought a big house in Summerlin. You should move here and move in with me, and we'll start the company together. And I'm not kidding you, that's exactly what happened. So she moves across the country, moves into my house. We literally just start baking. I learned how to bake from her. She was a great home baker. And so I learned how to bake because of Danielle. And we kind of cobbled this company together in 2012. And then it really grew into something. We had it for 11 years, and we sold it to a national bakery brand. And what's crazy is that I didn't know how to bake, right? Baking wasn't like a passion for me. It's not like I was like this great home baker. I was just like, that is an amazing idea, and Vegas is a place where people come to overspend, overindulge, buy and do things they're not going to buy and do at home. Like, they will pay us $50 a dozen for alcohol cupcakes. And I kept my day job. I kept my day job for the first almost 2 years that we were running the bakery. Because, as you guys know, businesses need money, right? And we didn't take on investors. We bootstrapped the whole thing. And so during the day, I worked 5.5 days a week at the firm. And Danielle was baking, answering the phones, running deliveries while I was working my day job. And then at night and on the weekends, I was helping bake, run deliveries, set up events, all the things that are required. So I spent years working 7 days a week, but I was having so much fun. And granted, this is a fun business, right? It's alcohol cupcakes. We're doing every major golf tournament with Michael Jordan and Derek Jeter. We're doing all the huge conventions. This is a celebratory time. No one is mad at you when you're delivering alcohol cupcakes to them. So I have to say, like, it is a fun business, and so that's part of what made it so fun, right? We got to be part of everyone's special occasions, special celebrations, their once-in-a-lifetime, 50th birthday or their wedding or whatever it was that they were here to celebrate. We got to be part of that, and that was super cool. But that one business taught me, wow, I can have my own company as long as I team up with an operations partner. And once we got to a point where our revenue was 10x my salary, I was like, I should probably quit my day job. And it was a huge fight, actually, with my mom. She was really upset, mostly because she couldn't tell people, her friends, that her daughter was a lawyer anymore. And you guys know, again, if you have Asian tiger mom, it's a different side of the story, But it just goes to show you, you can, slow progress is okay, one, and two, you'll have a lot of people tell you, hey, you should go all in on one thing. And I think that's true for some people, but if you have the help, right, if you have operational partners, if you have SOPs that get put in place, if you have strong processes that you can put together, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. So I took that model of teaming up with an operations partner, putting in the SOPs, putting in the procedures in place, and then continuing to bring the same things that I'm really good at, right? Obviously, I'm helping with legal background, I'm helping with formation, I'm helping with our SOPs and processes, I'm helping with marketing, I'm helping with the things that I know that I'm already really good at, and I kept bringing those same things to different companies that we were starting together with other partners, whether it was real estate, whether it was e-commerce, venture capital, etc., the shipping stores. So the nice thing about it, and you guys know this, especially with you guys heavily focused on real estate, I mean, ultimately it's about autonomy. I think that's what's most important, right? You get a chance to really just kind of carve out and figure out, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your life to look like with you and your family? How do you want to spend your time? And I do think there's different seasons, right? I definitely had a grind season for a long time where the businesses 100% were my priority. And I had relationships that suffered, right? I had personal relationships that suffered. I had family relationships that suffered because of that. But I stayed focused because I was like, this is what's important to me right now. And you have to do it kind of unapologetically because no one else is going to understand or see what it is that's important to you because it's so unique to you. So what's the blueprint? So for me, one, it's define your goals. That's a picture of my dad and I. And there's this great book called Values-Based Financial Planning. You can find it on Amazon. It's a little thin book. It's a quick, easy read. It's got a green cover on it. And it's got this really great exercise in it. And one of the exercises is where you get out a sheet of paper and you ask yourself, why is money important to me? And you have to answer that, right? And you write down, for me, I wrote flexibility. Then you ask yourself again, why is flexibility important to me? I wrote freedom. Why is freedom important to me? More time with family. Why is more time with family important to me? You ask yourself the litany of questions 15 times, and you write your answers down. And so you end up with a list, essentially, of values, of things that are so important to you, starting with that first question of why is money important to me? And I just think it's a super helpful exercise because it helps you stay focused and tight on why it is that you're building what you're building, especially when you're in that grind season, or if you're around people who don't understand what it is that you're doing or why it's important to you, you at least have that piece of paper to remind you of why it is that you're working so hard and what it is that you're working on. So something as simple as, kind of breaking down the values first, and then you just break out the to-dos one at a time. So my parents, they bought one property a year when I started elementary school. And my dad was a W-2 government guy. Literally, he got the certificate after like 42 years of working for the United States government. And we were like, is this something to be proud of? Between like Air Force and the DoD. But he was a W-2 guy, salary guy his entire career, and then he retired. By the time I was in college, he retired. My mom, to this day, actually still owns a hair salon. And on those two incomes, they built a real estate portfolio that today is now worth $60 million. And they started with one rental when I was in elementary school. And it was a normal long-term renter in it, 3-bedroom home in Sierra Vista, Arizona. And they just kept that model going where they were buying properties, and then collectively, by the time I was in middle school, they sold all of their SFRs and put the down payment onto one commercial building. It was vacant. It was off of the main road in Sierra Vista. They repaired it. They put in a long-term tenant. It was a gymnastics tenant. They put in a long-term tenant, built that up for like 3.5, 4 years, and then turned around and sold that and used that money as a down payment on their first multifamily apartment building, again, in Sierra Vista, in the town that we lived in. So it just goes to show, and you guys know this, right? Real estate, like, it's a long game. It's a long game. But if you can stay consistent, you guys know this better than anyone, right? You can start simple, right? One property at a time. So again, part of the blueprint for me was the network, right? Saying yes to everything. So I was the first Miss Nevada of Asian descent in 2014. And during that time, I did nearly 500 community appearances, volunteering in schools, reading in hospitals, working with countless nonprofits. And while it was such a whirlwind year, I was literally out volunteering my time. You get a small stipend, but you're out volunteering. And so it took me away from the bakery, from the businesses. Yet, at the end of that year, our revenue across all the companies had actually increased. Why? Because I was out in the community. I was out talking to people, meeting people, shaking hands, and it would just come up organically, right? They would ask me, oh, what else do you do besides this whole Miss Nevada thing? And that was my opportunity to talk about real estate or cupcakes or swimwear or whatever was appropriate for the conversation. And to this day, I mean, obviously it's been years, it's been over a decade now. To this day, I still have business relationships, personal friendships, personal relationships that I built from that time period of just giving back, of just being out in the community, being part of every charity event, every red carpet, every volunteer opportunity. To this day, still have incredible connections that have directly translated into business opportunities, into revenue. And I just can't say enough about, if you feel like you're stuck, where you're like, hey, like, I'm too busy, right? I'm in the weeds on my business, and I'm just trying to figure my stuff out. Something as simple as committing to saying yes for like the next 30, 60, 90 days, as much as you can and as reasonable as possible. See if it doesn't change your life. Like, the opportunities are out there, and it's just a matter of putting yourself out there into that sphere and like putting it out into the universe that you're open and willing for opportunity. So just a reminder, right, that failure is going to be part of the process. So all those companies that I showed you in the beginning of the slides, those are all up and still running, and they're either 6, 7, or 8-figure businesses. Here's an example of some of the businesses that I started that didn't work out. Empressol was a shoe company, and BrandBridge was an app that we built for micro-influencers, to pair micro-influencers with brands. And it was 2015, so I think it was like a little early for that, but if you focus on the negative, right, and you're like, oh man, like I lost money on that, I lost time, whatever your perception of your reputation is, and like fact check, like we're also more obsessed with how we think we're perceived than anyone else who is mildly paying attention to what you're doing. But the reality is like you need the at-bats, right? You need the time where you're taking a crack at it and trying, because it's either going to be a hit or a miss. It's kind of binary, right? It's either going to be a hit or a miss. And if it's a miss, that's okay. You have to have the fortitude to come back to the plate. I'm sure any of you can think of a circumstance where you tried something and it didn't work out, whether it was big or small. And if you just stayed away from that your entire life, it's just not possible, right? So you have to continue to try the at-bats and just understand that the failures are going to be part of the process. So the quicker that you can iterate, the quicker that you can like brush it off and just say, you know what, I can continue to, sulk and be upset about it, or I can iterate and figure out what the next at-bat is going to be, is the quicker that you'll put yourself into a position where you'll have a hit and maybe it ends up being a home run. So part of the blueprint, right, start small, lay a foundation. So on the real estate side, right, starting with that one property, starting with that one, whether it's an SFR rental, whether you house hack it, right, and you buy your own primary residence and rent out a room or two to some friends, and then you keep that property for a couple years and then turn around and buy a new primary residence with 5% down because it's your primary residence, and you keep that initial property as a rental. However you do it, you have to try, and it's okay to start small. Same thing with that side hustle, right? You don't have to have some crazy tech company that you go out and raise millions of dollars for, and this is your first entrepreneurial venture. It's okay to start small and have it start as a side hustle, and it's something that you start working on your nights and weekends while you still have your W-2 day job. And just remember that, slow organic growth is still progress. And I love this quote. I've heard it previously. It's just, remember that when you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. It's something that's resonated with me time and time again. And there's so many different ways that you can just kind of figure out how to start small, right? In our businesses, we like to use a framework called OKRs, Objectives, Key Results. They're based on quarterly opportunities, but basically, you could look it up on Google or ChatGPT, but with OKRs, you can use them for your business planning, but you can also use them for personal life goals or personal planning. And I just think it's super helpful to kind of figure out what it is that you're dialing into each quarter. So now you already have a finite end date, end time. And then you focus on kind of 3 to 5 objectives for that quarter. And again, whether that's in your business or whether this is on the personal side. And you break that down and you just stay focused on it one quarter at a time. And before you know it, the year's gone by and you take a look at what you've accomplished. It's pretty incredible. My last tip of the blueprint is just to surround yourself with support, right? Surround yourself with like-minded people. I think it's really easy to get bogged down in the negativity, especially if you have people who's, sometimes people who are close to you, like what they say matters, right? And their opinion matters to you. And it can be discouraging if they're not supportive, if they think whatever it is you're working on is stupid, or like for me, when I was young, I was definitely naive, and I was definitely a bit of a people pleaser. And so I've realized now you have to stay true to what it is that's important to you. And it's okay if you have to distance yourself from the people who aren't supportive of that journey, whether that's friends, maybe even if that's family, maybe it's a significant other you're involved with who's not supportive. Maybe that's not the right relationship for you to grow and get to the next level. And ultimately, you have to stick with, again, that values book, for example. It's so helpful, right? Now you have this list of values of things that are important to you. And so if the people that are around you don't match those values, there's a disconnect, right? And so then the things that you're talking about and you're sharing and you're working on, they're not working on those same things and they're not supportive of those ideas. It's hard. It just makes it that much harder for you to kind of swim this uphill battle when the journey's hard anyway. So my big tip for you guys on the blueprint is just to surround yourself with like-minded people. You guys are already doing that by coming to stuff like this, right? Like, people in the room are people who theoretically are kind of on the same journey, right? They're serious about personal growth. They're serious about their professional development. They're serious about taking the next step, the next chapter for their lives, for their families. This is your people, right? Like, it's okay, like I said, to be true to that and not feel like you have to justify it or keep iterating of explaining it to people who are close to you. And one of the best barometers I've found of, like, how do you figure out who these people are? One, if you have someone in your life who just complains all the time. Like, we all have that friend who just, like, complains all the time. And also, if you have someone in your life who they're constantly blaming other people for their own shitty situation. And you're just like, dude, like, it's kind of your fault, you know? But if like, they keep calling you, telling you about it, like, it's a time suck, it's a drain, like, there's other places that you can focus your time, effort, and energy. So I would encourage you to, like, kind of like take an inventory of the people that are closest to you, you know, the last 10 phone calls in your call log, the last 10 people you text messaged with, and ask yourself, is this someone who always complains? Is this someone who always blames others? Because that is affecting your drive, that's affecting your motivation, that's affecting the things that you're working on. So I just want to end with a quote that my parents told me since I've been little, and it's definitely resonated throughout my life. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So you don't have to be the most experienced in the room, the best of the best, you know, whatever it is. But if you can bring your work ethic to whatever it is that you're focused on and excited about, it will shine through. My social handles are still under my maiden name at Lisa Song Sutton. Would love to connect with you guys, and thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, folks, you have the opportunity to ask the one and only Lisa Sutton questions. I know a lot of you out there have careers, you went to school a long time. Maybe you're somebody in the room that's young and you're thinking about college. We went to a lot of college. You ask us that question, is college worth it? I dare you somebody to ask me that question. So again, let's line up. Let's ask some questions of the one and only Lisa Sutton.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
I've been following you since Mailbox Money was $7.99 back
Oh,
in the day.
amazing. Love it. Yeah,
And,
it was 2 years ago. Love it.
Yeah, it was great seeing you with Cody Sanchez and all the work you've been doing.
She's great, yeah.
Congrats on getting married and being pregnant.
Thank you.
So, I would say, well, I just wanted to congratulate you.
Thank you.
But I think the question for me is, you've done real estate, you've done business. I'm kind of in the position now that I'm doing business and real estate. What would you say to someone that's doing both? Like, how would you recommend they grow to do both?
Just like I touched on previously, I mean, operational partners have been the key for me. So with the real estate brokerage, you know, I still own Engel and Vokers. I mean, we have 2 other managing partners that are part of that. And so I'm not a buy-sell agent, but I am there to help kind of mentor and support our current agents. And I'm always available by phone, email for sure, but I'm not going into the office day to day, right? And so that allows me to free up my bandwidth for these other business endeavors. So I highly recommend teaming up with folks that are aligned in vision and then parsing out roles and responsibilities. So that way you can bring the things that you're good at and they can bring the things that they're good at, and then you guys have a thriving business.
Perfect, thank you.
Other questions? Because I'll ask them if you guys don't have them. So I think one of the questions, Lisa, I've always wanted to ask you, again, one of your strengths, you just hit it again, is your partners. You always give them kudos. Yeah. But how do you find those partners that you're going to click with? Because again, I've seen a lot of partnerships blow up.
Yeah.
How do you make that work?
Yeah, and I have had partnerships that went bad, but especially my current partnerships now, they've actually all come from my sphere of influence. So again, that slide about networking and getting out there and meeting people. For example, my real estate partner, Kathy Quo, I met her because I was the MC for a charity event, for a gala that she was on the board of. And we met each other that night, and we just like clicked, like we became friends. And then fast forward maybe 2-3 years later, we ended up going into business together, and now our brokerage is, 6 years old. Same thing with my partner with the shipping stores. This was a girlfriend of mine who we've been friends for years. And then when I knew that I was going to be opening the mailbox stores, that first one, I was like, I love this business model, but I don't have the bandwidth to go sit there at the store myself Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Who do I know that may want to potentially partner with me and take on this opportunity? And my partner, Sarah, she actually has a teaching degree. She was a 7th grade science teacher. She was a UNLV Division I volleyball player, Division I, got her teaching degree, was teaching science, and then was like, wait, I can make way more money bartending on the strip. So she was doing that, but she was like complaining about it because she was like, I'm working till 2 a.m. I'm dealing with these idiots, every idiot with a credit card, drunk guys. Like she was like, I'm over it, And I was like, would you like to work 9 to 6? And obviously, with her bartending background, it's customer service, right? These mailbox stores, it's customer service is what I'm looking for. I don't care if you've worked at the post office, right? Actually, if you've worked at the post office, it's like a no-go. So I partnered with her, right? And our stores are now in their 7th year of business. So I would highly recommend leaning on your sphere of influence. And it doesn't have to be someone who's super experienced in that realm per se. Maybe you guys are going to do it together and learn together, but you need someone who's going to be there day to day.
You got a legal background? So where do we find legal advice on, like, I'm in Illinois, without going just to any old lawyer? What's any advice on finding legal, like setting things up and contracts and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, 100% you need someone strong at that. And even now, even though obviously I have a legal background myself, and there's a lot of things I take care of within our businesses where I'll draft, a partnership agreement or employment agreements or whatever, and I'll have them 98% of the way there, but then we run it through a business attorney or legal, just someone else with a second set of eyes. There's a peer-rated website called AVVO, AVVO.com, and it's actually attorneys rating each other, so it's true because they're like, you don't just be nice to be nice, It's a peer-rated website where they will rate each other basically and share information there. That's always a great place to start, but certainly recommendations as well, right? Like ask the local people in your community who have they used. Does anyone have a recommendation for contract lawyer, small business lawyer, whatever it is? Because I think recommendations are very strong as well.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
No worries. Hey, thank you so much. I had a question for you. For someone who's made it on the other side now, and growing up with a tiger mother, wife has tiger parents, what would be your message to say, hey, your child can make it on the other side as well? It's like, what would the tiger parent, what would you tell them?
Again, just stay true, right? Because, I mean, my mom and I are very close, and it was hard on our relationship when we were fighting with each other. With first off, even starting the cupcakes, she literally, as soon as I told her about it, she was like, well, don't quit your job. And I was like, I'm not. Like, just calm down, And of course I'd share with her. I'm just like, oh my God, like we got this contract, or like we're doing this big catering thing or whatever. She's just like, okay, well that's great, but like don't forget you have a job. Like she was so concerned because she comes from a different generation, right? I will say after 11 years and us selling it, she like tries to tell people the cupcakes were her idea, and I was like, I can hear you, like I can hear you. I'm standing right here, right? I think ultimately, right, your parents love you. They are so proud of you, and they just want what they think is best for you, right? And sometimes they just don't know, right? Entrepreneurship, starting your own business wasn't really something that they were like, that's secure, right? I mean, my dad, gosh, like I said, W-2 salary guy his entire career. And then my mom, with the hair salon, she started out just as like a stylist. They did the salon mostly for like tax write-offs, right? And then they were like, okay, now it's like a little small business, great. But like, this is not something you're making millions a year out of. So she was just like, well, small business is hard, right? This entrepreneur thing's hard. So like, don't do that. Like you should keep your day job, So just try to stay true to what it is that you're building. And I mean, the best thing you can do is just say, look, like I I'm grateful for your love and support because it just goes to show that like you holding me to a higher standard means that like you know that I'm capable. And that's huge, right? There's people out there who don't have anyone who supports them. But you have to stay true to yourself because sometimes they actually don't know what's best for you. You know what's best for you.
Thank you so much.
So along those same lines, my wife and I, we have a 14-year-old daughter. Probably more than a decade ago, we started doing a drip pay plan so we could have her college covered. Now, we have differences on this. I tell my daughter, your grades don't matter. I don't care what you do. Do whatever you want. It makes no difference. Like I'm very harsh on that. She's the opposite, right? So, and at the same time, we're making that investment. And so I'm just wondering from your perspective, being on the other end of, you know, it sounds like pretty strict in one direction. Are we just burning that money? Like, we don't know what's best for her, like you said, but we also want to give her the best of what's possible for her. So you have a perspective on that?
You know, I don't regret in any way doing college and law school. And the thing with that, though, so college, I got what was called a millennial scholarship. So I got straight A's through high school because my parents are crazy, right? And so it allowed me to go to college totally debt-free. And then with law school, my parents said, if you can get an academic scholarship for law school, we will pay for your living cost. And so my parents paid for my car payment, my car insurance, my apartment. And so to me, that was a screaming deal because I was like, okay, great. Like, that's all I have to do. So structure it however you'd like. I will say this, the value, I think, in going, for example, to law school, I think it's the best bang for your buck. If she's going to go somewhere postgraduate, the traditional JD program's 3 years after your bachelor's degree. You can finish it earlier even if you wanted to, doing summer school and winter sessions and stuff. And then you get out, and now you have this JD that either you can go take the bar and become a practicing attorney, and at least you know you're going to get some job, right? Like, even if you don't go to like a big 5 firm, you'll be able to get a job. Even if you don't take the bar, she can still go into government. And there's a bunch of different pathways that are available for JD without passing the bar. But most importantly, I literally now, gosh, I graduated from law school in like 2010, right? My friends from law school now, guess what? They're all partners at their law firm, or they own their own law firm, or they're in business like myself and killing it. So I have this incredible network of people that I can call for literally anything in any form of legal capacity, right? Like, we had a potential slip and fall situation at one of our locations last year. Guess what? Called a girlfriend of mine, Yoli, that I went to school with, who that's all she does is insurance defense. So I'm like, tell me everything, you know, like how amazing, right? You have this network of people who, fast forward, are all going to be power players and can be very, very helpful for, I think, what's a very small investment of time and money.
So you've started up multiple businesses. What would be one key or a couple of keys in terms of structuring your operating agreements that would protect you?
Yeah, so can't tell you how important this is, right? Anyone will, but laying out roles and responsibilities, number one, because I found, not only from personal experience, but also just even from working at the firm, that's the main thing people fight about, right? Because you have one person who's like, well, I'm doing all of this, and whether it's their perception or reality, and they're like, well, you're not doing enough of this, and I thought you were going to do that. So it's like a mismatched expectation off the bat. So laying out roles and responsibilities is one. And then two, having the flexibility in the agreement that says it can be modified upon mutual consent, right? Because there's going to be life changes. People will get married, right? They'll have kids. Whatever happens. You need the flexibility to change those roles and responsibilities over time, because also, as the company grows, what got you to the first $1 million is not going to get you to 5. It's not going to get you to 10. Right? And that skill set that they brought in the beginning might have been really great for the startup phase, but then now you're realizing, you know what? we need to move them to either a board position or maybe they're opening up another branch and going in that startup phase again because they are really not good managing more than 10 people. So you'll learn those things over time, but laying out the roles and responsibilities and then have the flexibility to change, I've found has been like the most important thing for us.
Any last minute question? Because I have one left that I've always wanted to ask. Anybody else want to ask a question? Hands raised? Nope. All right. So Lisa, you have clearly been a type A performer your entire life from high school on. You've been very task oriented. You went through some self-reflection earlier this year and decided that family and relationships were important to you and you weren't maybe managing to that yourself. So just talk about that self-reflection and really understanding what's right for you at the right season, because we all go through just different seasons of life.
Yeah, I mean, the precursor for it was really, I had a sit down with a mentor of mine, real estate mentor of mine, Ken McElroy, and
Ken McElroy, she just name drops.
Ken's amazing. But going back to the network piece, right? I met Ken through YPO, the Young Presidents Organization, 4 years ago, and we met because I cold DM'd him on LinkedIn. I cold DM'd this man on LinkedIn, and that's how we met. It was because I said, hey, I just joined YPO. I see you're in YPO. Would love to stay connected, and then that's how it grew from there. But we were sitting in his office, and he had this really great exercise. He rolled out butcher paper, and he was like, okay, busy lady. He was like, write down all your stuff. Write down all the projects, right? So I'm writing down all the businesses. I'm writing down all the nonprofit boards I'm on. I'm writing down all the knick-knack projects I've got. I'm writing everything down. And then he was like, okay. He gave me a marker, and he was like, circle the ones that make you money. So I'm circling. There's the whole like right side of the page. There's no circles. I was like, and then he was like, circle the ones you could see yourself doing for the next 10 years. And I was like, so I'm circling. And then circle the ones where the work you're doing is like purposeful, meaningful, impactful to you. And that one exercise was what had planted the seed of selling cupcakes. Because prior to that, I didn't even think about it. It wasn't even something we talked about, and we didn't build the company to do so. It just grew organically and like became a thing. And I realized, wow, it only has one circle, and it's that it makes money. Like, I could not see myself doing it for another 10 years. I don't feel like the work I'm doing is purposeful because I'm so like removed out of the day-to-day now that I'm so excited about these other things that I'm doing and working on. And again, that one exercise, I came off of probably 4 boards that I was on. Not that the work that they're doing is not important, but I didn't feel like what I was contributing to it by being a board member, I was just like, what am I doing here, right? Like, I'm not being helpful in any capacity other than taking up a board seat and like checking a box for you guys. Like, let's hone down our time, right? And that was a really great exercise. That was super helpful.
So again, what makes you money?
What makes you money? What could you see yourself doing for the next 10 years? And what is it that you feel like the work you're doing is like impactful and purposeful?
Wow, Ken McElroy for the win, huh? All
Ken
right, so you have won a lot of awards. You've worn lots of sashes and all of that, but you ever had a championship belt?
No, I haven't.
Wow, we got something.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Of course. Yeah, you need somebody to carry that for you? You could be okay?
Yeah, thank you.
There you go. And Casey, where are you? There she is. Casey, she's going to interview in that podcast room right there. I just don't have time to make the introduction, but that's Casey right there.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. All right, so we got one thing to do before we take a little break, and we have the surprise keynote speaker coming on. And that is actually going to be a pretty fun session. We're going to do a bunch of awards. And we are actually going to start with these cards. So, if you earned a gold card, a golden ticket this year, I would like you to come to the stage right now. 2024, sorry, 2024, thank you. You know what? If you've followed me and you've ever gotten a gold card, come to the stage. We are going to take a big picture. We're all going to clap and have some fun. Come on, let's go. Gold cards? There's more than 7 of you.
I got my first deal before you had a gold card.
Well, then get your ass up here and get a gold card. I'm not a hard grader. I'm not a hard grader. Look at this. I like it. Let's get up here. I want to take lots of pictures. Come on. You only get 1 gold ticket. You're cheating. Keep coming. Got some more back there. Anybody else? All right. So we all hope to get a golden ticket if you haven't got one. If you got one before, it's all good. So let's get loud. Congratulate these people for getting their first deal. Thank you very much. Congratulations. That's all for you. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes. It's clean. Some of the ones I mailed out are damaged. All right, so if golden tickets are first, guess what's next? Black cards. Lots of you got black cards. So if you've ever gotten a black card, you got your second, third, fourth deal. Come up, let's get a picture, let's make some noise. Let's have some fun. I don't mail these things out.
Mike, I got 2 in 1 year.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, big boy. Come on. Yeah, let's go. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What was the first one? Yeah, 500. Anybody else? I expected more.
Does it count if we took a...
No, it counts. Yeah. What part of the easy grader did you not understand?
But then I get a gold one.
Yes. All right. So if you guys don't know, these are why I do this. These are how I measure my impact. Like, is anybody hearing me? Is anybody doing the work? All of that. Oh, I should be talking into a mic. I just realized I didn't have a mic. These cards are why I do what I do. This is how I track how I am doing. Are people listening? Are they getting the disrespectful offer? Are they doing these things? So, again, we clapped it up for the golden tickets. Let's clap up for the black cards. Let's go. All right, thank you very much. Man, I got to get away from that speaker. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, a little slow. Come on, Justin. What's up? You're way up in the back of the room. Grab it. No, grab it. Go ahead. All right, so give me 1 second. I got to prepare for some stuff. Hold on. So, has everybody enjoyed the banners, the, grow your network, the ORaaT store banners, the tablecloths? Everybody enjoyed that? We stepped it up this year, right? Well, if you guys know anything about me, I did none of that except write the check. That's all I did. I want to congratulate somebody who spent countless hours on this, did lots of stuff behind the scenes, and deserves to get a huge round of applause. Miss Jen Pritchard. Where's Jen Pritchard? I'm not seeing Jen Pritchard. Jason, buddy, where's Jason Pritchard? Jason, where's your wife? Dude, that was a letdown. All right, we'll have to do that one again later. We'll save that. That was practice. That was practice. You try. All right. Okay. So who was here last year? Just, again, raise your hand. So last year, I called somebody up to stage to thank them, and I frankly made a mistake. I gave them a shout-out, gave them acknowledgement, but I didn't give them something to memorize and really show my gratitude. Does everybody remember who I called up to the stage and gave that love to? Jen Tam. Let's get it. Let's go, Jen. Where are you? Woo! Jen Tan has lined up Ken McElroy and all kinds of people for us. She is constantly saying, how can I help? How can I? She showed up at 7:30 this morning for check-in. She is doing all kinds of stuff. Now you have your own belt.
Am I supposed to lift it?
Yeah, why not? Lift it. Yay! Yeah.
Hi. I was here last year, and he called me out, and I was speechless. But I really wanted to thank you, Zuber, for everything you've done for Kenny and myself, and really grateful for this community, and just thank you. So it took me a year, but I got to say it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes. All right, so if you don't know, I'm actually giving, so Jen's award doesn't count because that was for last year. What I'm doing now is I'm giving out 5 awards for the last 12 months, and I will be doing this every event going forward, is I will be finding 5 people in the community who've gone above and beyond, done things I haven't asked, and really done the job that I've seen, and they're going to come up on stage. So these are the winners for this year. And first, just because it was on top of the stack, Mr. Chester Williams. Yeah, well, that's the idea. I slide around. Again, congratulations. Thank you for all you do. You want to say anything?
No, I'm not shy. I was not expecting this, but yeah, definitely, doing the work, you preach all the time. I mean, being around, a great community, honestly, a lot of friends, really don't know what more to say other than, thank you for, kind of helping me to kind of get over that hump. And like Dion says, if you're happy and you know it, everybody who knows how the rest of that goes. And for those who don't, if you're happy and you know it, overthink. So that was definitely me. But yeah, just being around people who can push you forward without breaking you, so to speak, meaning going past your limit and knowing what you need, even if you don't know what you need yourself, so that you can, again, getting that first rental like you guys saw with the golden ticket, and then continuing to move forward. So definitely appreciate that, appreciate everybody. So definitely thank you.
All right, again, these are in no particular order. It's just top of the box. Next up, Mr. Ryan All-Nighter Hyder. Where is he? See, I can't tell people they're getting an award because... Yeah, he's watching another... Tell him he just won an award. He's coming. So the reason Ryan gets this, obviously, I see when everybody joins the daily financial news, and I got to tell you, 99% of the time, he is first, always sending love, always saying smash the like button. Anybody who is there for me each and every day deserves recognition, and Ryan, there you go, brother.
Thank you.
Save some words.
Wow, that is amazing. I didn't know I was that ugly. Did you Photoshop this thing? Should have sent my son's picture in this place. Well, thank you, everyone. Not sure what to say. I did dream about this moment, and what I was thinking of was thanking all of you, Because really, we are the reason that we're here. Not to celebrate me, not to celebrate Zuber, but because we're here together to experience one another and to experience one another personally. So let's give yourselves a round of a hand. Round of applause. I also wanted to mention all the adversity that has happened prior to this event happening. A lot of people have run into some walls and some problems and overcome those problems. And so I'm glad we're all here. I'm glad it's happening. And let's make the most of it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Nice job. All right, again, next up, no particular order. This man, I actually mentioned his name earlier, is somebody that Olivia and I have counted on for literally decades. In fact, we would not have the footprint we have in Fresno, California without this man. I met him when he drove to one of our houses on B Street to quote a painting job, which he did not get because it was too expensive. Just telling you the story. But that was the start of a friendship, because what did he do? He followed up with me and asked, why not? What did I do? What can I get your business? Oh, you're looking for spray and pray instead of detail. Just all of this stuff. This man is not only somebody I count on daily to help run our business, somebody I consider a family friend, and frankly, I would not be here at this event, hosting this event, without this man's help, and that's Brad Hardy. You want to say anything?
Thank you very much, and I just wanted to acknowledge, Michael and Olivia, I don't think I would be here without them. Early in my career, these guys, I remember bringing van loads of investors from HP and Cisco, especially Olivia sitting quiet in that corner. A huge reason why I am what I am today, so thank you.
Thank you. Has anybody found Jen Pritchard yet? Jen Pritchard, we're going to try this again. Again, folks, give it up for Jen Pritchard. Woo. Well, now you have a championship ring. Thank you for helping me. You going to say anything?
Zuber asked me to help him do some of the details for the event, and yes, no. Zuber's most important thing is bringing everybody together, which he does a fabulous job at. I mean, there's people here from all over the place. And I was like, Zuber, let's focus on some of the details too. Like, you need some tablecloths, you need some banners. So the little things that he doesn't focus on that I pay attention to, I was so thankful to help you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I really like this part of the agenda. I get to give away awards and tell people they're lovely. It's awesome. All right, again, in no particular order, somebody who has stepped up in really helping grow the school community and really taking on masterminds and all that, leading by example. We've got Jared. Jared. Yeah.
Holy crap. Oh, crap. I have to speak?
Yeah, you gotta say some nice words.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. Well, for me, it's kind of weird. This is like a family for me. I've joined other groups. I've spent $15,000. My wife not too happy about that. But with Mike, it's like $20 to join the school, and I'm like, that's a no-brainer. And I found I'm sad that Frank's not here, because Frank and I really bonded. And that guy, he created a shirt that a lot of us bought. And on the back, hey, would you mind coming up here? Check this out. Frank created this shirt. If you turn around, sorry. I found my tribe, if you can't read it. I found my tribe, and I feel that. And I saw that shirt, and I was like, man, I found my people. You know, too bad I found it after spending all that money, but, but I found my tribe nonetheless. So thank you. And thank you, Michael. Of course. Wow, man, that's great, man. Thanks, dude.
All right, we've got 2 more to give away, and again, these were in no particular order, literally just top of the box to the bottom. Somebody that I have looked up to for a while, somebody that's really shows me what it is to be kind and helpful, is the financial firefighter. Do you love that saunter? Just saunter. Of course. There you go.
I am actually lost for words. I mean, a lot of you probably can't believe it. I mean, you guys say I make a lot of trouble and whatnot, but I am honored to get this. I mean, actually feel this kind of means a lot to me. I actually felt like I kind of failed a little bit this year. My goal was to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I fell short, but you know, this makes up for it. I mean, this shows that you know what I'm doing is helping, and you know, my channel is Financial Firefighter, so even if you have an Android, you still can subscribe. So please do it. But thank you. This means a lot.
All right, so the final award is for someone's name has been mentioned before, Frank, old guy REI, and let's just say something happened that they couldn't make it out today. So they will get this. I will mail it to him, but we are recording this for Frank. So do me a favor. Let's show this, but then turn around because I need you guys to get loud. You all know Frank runs accountability groups and all of this. Let's show Frank some love. Let him know we're thinking about him. Frank, old guy REI. All right, so we are going to go on break. We're going to have a little networking and whatnot. Let me check my schedule real quick. Oh, we're ahead of schedule a little bit. So we're going to come back at 4:40 for hopefully the surprise keynote presentation. So you've got a little bit over 30 minutes. Enjoy, network, have fun.